Hello everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper. If you recall, in my last video we used the garden greenhouse stamp set and the dies to make a card, and it occurred to me when I was tidying up after that video that we had lots of the little house shapes cut out from my cards. This one here. So we cut this one out as an aperture and we overlaid this one, which left me with little greenhouses. And anybody that knows me well knows that I don't like waste. So I wanted to see how we could use those little greenhouses to make another card. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I have run the little greenhouses, because they are green and they're house shaped, through the bricks and mortar embossing folder. Got to be honest, I'm not entirely sure if that's still a current one or not. I kept it because I like it if it isn't. So anyway, so I've done that. So you could use whatever embossing folder you've got to make it look housey. You could do it with a plank effect one, but I quite like the bricks. So I've done that over my little greenhouses. And then for the front of our card, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of something that's coming up in the new annual catalogue. And for that I've used, hopefully you can see this, this is a new 3D embossing folder called Fern, and it coordinates with one of the new suites that we'll have in the new catalogue, which goes live at the beginning of May. And I'll be giving you some sneak peeks of bits and pieces out of that over the next week or so before they go live. So I've embossed this on a piece of basic white, but I want to give it a little bit of colour. So what I'm going to do is just bring in a soft sea foam. Sorry, I'm just moving some other little bits out of the way so that I don't get ink on them. I'm bringing in my soft sea foam ink pad. And because these are 3D embossing folders, they do tend to give you a really nice high, I don't know if you can really see that there, but a really nice high texture. So I'm just going to very gently go over the embossing folder. Remember, when you're using our blending brushes, keep your finger on the end, otherwise you run the risk of snapping the neck. Now, I'm not wanting to turn this a bright green, which is why I've gone for soft sea foam. I just want to pick out some of the detail. So I need to make sure that I cover the whole of the piece of cardstock with the ink, so we don't have any glaringly white patches left. But by using a power colour and a little bit of a gentle hand, what should happen is that we should pick up the colour just on those raised sections, and I can see a bit here that I've missed. So I'm just going over that and those edges with my blending brush. Just want a little bit more ink around the edge just to take the whiteness off where I've cut the cardstock to fit. Okay, so please excuse my bangles jangling away. So hopefully you can see that on the camera. Oh, there's a little bit there that could do with a little bit more. As I said, a light hand is the key, because it should just catch the surface. There you go. So we've got almost a blended effect going on without really having to use too much effort. Okay, and I've realised I haven't picked up a piece of cardstock for my base. So if you'll just talk amongst yourselves and admire that ferny embossing folder for 2 seconds while I hunt for a piece of soft sea foam cardstock. Okay. Luckily I had a piece that I'd cut to the right size. So this is half of an A4 sheet if you're in the UK. I'm just folding it in half. Use my foam folder just to get a good crease. Some people prefer to score their cards. I find that I always go a bit wonky. So we've got our soft sea foam piece and we've got our piece with the ferns on, so I'm just going to use some wet glue to attach that. Wet glue is always better for 3D or any embossing folders really, because the raised and debossed, or embossed and debossed areas mean that wet glue tends to stick it a little bit more effectively. Okay, so I'm just lining that up so we've got a little bit of a edge. Okay, smooth that down, and again with embossing folders, good idea to give them a good press to make sure that those areas have caught. Okay, so that's our background. So then I'm going to bring in one of our little houses. You could, if you wanted to, add some detail to this. You could draw some little windows on it. This is just going to be a very simple card, so I'm just going to use the shape we've got, and this time I am using dimensionals, but I wouldn't recommend sticking a whole sheet, like a half sheet like this down, quarter sheet even. So I'm just going to put my dimensionals on there. And one of the things I like about our shaped dimensionals is that if you've got two straight edges, you can get two straight edges against them. I'm just giving them a bit of a press in the middle with my thumbnail, which helps lift up the backings. I'm just going to take those off. Also helps me see where I've taken the backings off as well if I can't see the indentation. Okay, and we're going to pop that slightly to the left, so it gives me some room for some greeting. Now what I've done is I've used some more of the dies from the Garden Greenhouse coordinating dies. So this is the die set, and what I've done is I've used the Frondy die, these ones here. I've gone ahead and done this so you don't need to listen to me clonking my die cutting machine around. And then there are some little flowers, and I've die cut these. So the leaves are in Just Jade, and I've die cut some flowers in Bumblebee and Magenta Madness, as those are two of the colours, three of the colours with Just Jade that will be retiring. So I like to try and not end up with too much retired cardstock. So I've just cut those out. And what I do like about the Stampin' Up! Die sets often, and you can see it in this one, is there are two of the bigger flowers. There are two of the little flowers, there are two of the fronds, there are two of these little tulipy shaped ones. Just makes die cutting little things easier, so you don't need quite so many passes. Right, and now what we're going to do is give our little house a garden using some of these bits I've die cut. Now, dropped one on the floor. There is a right way and a wrong way up with a die cut, and I don't know if I can get it close enough to the camera focused for you to see. So this is the right way to the die cut, and this is the wrong way, and I don't know if you can see there's just a little edge on there, so in preference I like those bits facing down. I'm just popping a little bit of wet glue on the back of my stem. And I've done this in Just Jade, so it's different greens. So we've got Soft Sea Foam, this is in Mint Macaron, and I've done this in Just Jade so that they stand out. If we have all of the same green, it all becomes a bit samey, and then things don't stand out. Okay, so I'm just going to pop another one on there. And I'll tuck that in. Actually, I'll tuck that in under that leaf there, I think. So some of mine is raised up on the house, which we've put on dimensionals, and some of it I'm pressing down flat onto the embossed background. And generally, the rule of thumb is odd numbers when you're grouping things together. It just gives a neater look. So we're going to go in for a third one. What I'm trying to get is, drop that on there. What I'm trying to get is sort of a vine growing up the side of the house effect. So we're just going to come across on there with that one. Okay, and then we're going to come in with some of these flowers. So I've cut some in Magenta Madness and some in Bumblebee. I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on the backs of those. Now they have got a little hole in the middle, but we'll we'll lose that in a minute. I'm just going to pick these up with tweezers because I can see them going spudding everywhere. So I'm just going to add again in odd numbers. So we've got a pink one and a yellow one, and we'll go for another pink one, I think, if I can manage to pick them up. My fingers have got glue on that makes it really difficult to pick stuff up because stuff sticks to it when you don't want it to. Okay, so we're going to go in with the third. Well, you can see it's stuck to my nail, so I might as well just use the tweezers to press it down. We're going to go in with the third one there, and then just so this side doesn't look left out, I'm just going to put one. So remember, your groupings can be 1, 3, 5, 7. Just try and do odd numbers. I'm just going to put another one there. If it'll stick. It's deciding it doesn't want to play ball. It's always handy to have a pair of tweezers or a bone folder or something laying about on your table. Okay, and we're just going to go for one flower. So we've got 2 pink ones on this side, so I think we'll go for a bumblebee one on the other side. So I'll just pop that one there. And then just to cover up the middles of those, I'm going to bring in some gems. Excuse me, I'm just having a rummage. Looking for some different gems. I think I might go for plain ones actually. I was going to pop some coloured ones on there, but I think we'll go for good old basic jewels. Pack it open. So for those of you that try and pull this down without taking the rest of the cardboard out, they are stuck in. So, right, and I'm just going to use the blade of my scissors. Some people use tweezers, some people use the take your pick tool. I just find it easier to use the blade of my scissors. And I think these should quite nicely, yep, there you go. So this is the sort of middle size. So you've got the little teeny ones, middle size, the big ones, and then the really teeny tiny ones. And I think these will just about cover up. Oh, managed to get one stuck to my finger. Told you I was covered in glue. Oh, literally. And again, you could use any gems that you've got hanging about. There you go. Okay, so just put those to one side for the minute. So that's our little house used up. Now, I thought this would make a really good housewarming card. So I was going back to the stamp set, the Garden Greenhouse stamp set, because as I mentioned in my previous video, I get a bit twitchy when things are on my shelf. They're retiring and I haven't used them. So I thought there was a couple of, oh goodness me, I've got gems attached to me everywhere. I thought there was a couple of greetings in this stamp set. Excuse me while I just try and detach that gem without attaching even more. Right, okay, it's off. There are a couple of greetings in this stamp set. So you could have Love Grows Here, which is quite a nice one. You could have Each Day is a New Beginning. I'm going to go for Love Grows Here. That's this one. Okay, just grab a block to pop that on. And the best way of mounting up these really small photopolymer stamp sets is to line them up with a line on your grid paper. Oh, goodness me, I'm not going to be able to do it now, am I? Oh, goodness me, my fingers are so sticky. Okay, there we go. I think that's more or less straight. And then pick it up with your block and then it should be straight. Now, I've got these little strips that were left over from the first card bases. Oh no, the first card layers that I cut. So I'm just going to grab some soft succulent just to go down a little bit darker in tone, and we'll see if it'll fit. I am aware that the stamper's upside down. There we go. So yes, it does fit. So what I'm going to do is stamp it again, but I'm going to stamp it a little bit further into my strip. So this is a good tip for why not to throw your little strips away. And then what I'm going to do is I'll take my snips. Now you could cut that at an angle like that, which I could do on this one just to show you. So you get a little greeting like that, which you could put wherever you want really. Up there I think might be the best place. Or you can do a tail. So the easiest way to do a tail is to cut up the middle of your strip and then go from each side up to the middle. Okay, now which one do we think is the better one? I'm sort of leaning towards that because it looks like a flag, although I'm quite liking that one because it could go across there, but I think that will blend in a bit too much, or it would fit there down the bottom there. I'm undecided. I'm not normally undecided. Okay, let's just move this stuff out of the way and move this a bit more down into the screen. We could pop it in there, or even over the door, but I think if that goes above the door, I think that's going to need to be on maybe a white strip. So I think what I'm going to do is go for the flagged end, and pop it up there. Oh, I don't know, I might pop at that end actually. Yeah, I think it looks better there. So we're just going to go for a couple of dimensionals now. Because these are quite thin strips, the actual dimensionals will be too wide, but if we just trim off some of the edges here, never ever throw away the edges of your dimensionals because they come in really handy for this kind of thing. So we're going to pop that on there, and we'll just flick the backs off, and then we can stick that here. I'm sorry if I'm bringing that out of shot, I just want to try and line it up. There we go, and there's our little card. I think that would make quite a nice little housewarming card. So hopefully that's given you some ideas for using up your leftover bits, and I will see you all again soon with another video. Thanks for watching, and happy stamping.